Welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related. We talk about what's going on, what do I think's going to happen, my predictions. Hey, we even talk about fashion on the show because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill the tea about that from time to time. If you're new to this channel, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. It's been a week. I can't say it was purple robe worthy. I can't say that it was purple blank worthy. It was somewhere in between. So we're going to spill the tea about, what's been going on, of course. We'll take it character by character and hope for the best. Okay, so if you like this type of content, you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind of you if you hit that like and subscribe button and smash the bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. And my usual disclaimer, if this is not what you want to see, you kind of want to get caught up on your own, I really am grateful that you're here nonetheless. And also, if I happen to not mention something, it's probably because it wasn't either newsworthy or I plumb forgot. So it's the nature of the beast. It is what it is. We're just going to get into it. And just before we get into it, I have a cold that I am trying to fight. I got it for my kids and womp. I've had some really up and down days this week. So if I sound kind of, choked up, it's because of the cold. That's basically what it is. All right? If you hear me sniffling, it is what it is. But I had to get this video out, okay? All right. So the beginning of the week, we see Nikki, Victor, basically the whole host of Newmans, minus Adam, which Adam didn't show up this week at all. I kind of miss Adam. Where did he go? Adam. Oh, Adam, where'd you go? Okay, so back to Victor, Nikki, Nicholas, Victoria, and a side plate of Cole Howard. Okay, so if you haven't been caught up thus far, they were ushered to this home to see Aunt Jordan because Nikki was allegedly, she had a seizure. Okay, so Claire led them to this home. I think was it in Missouri? I can't remember. Doesn't really matter, but they had to take the jet and fly on out. Okay, so while they were there, again, I'm just backtracking a bit. Victoria, Nicholas, and Victor were apparently so parched that they needed bottled water, and Nicholas was chugging that thing back like I don't know what. And it turns out that there was poison in each of these bottles. And if you heard me last week, these bottles were just laid out there like, what? I don't even remember Cole drinking any of this water, but nonetheless, I digress. Okay, so we know that they've been poisoned, whatnot. So push it to the beginning of the week. They've all been poisoned. It's like, oh, help me. There's allegedly an anecdote that is within this home that Claire, she only knows, as she said, she only knew where one was, and that Aunt Jordan knew where the rest of them were. Okay, we soon see that Claire ends up getting 2 vials of anecdote, so I don't know how she only knew where one was, but whatever. Okay. And she suddenly knew where the other 2 anecdotes were. Okay. If you must know. Okay. So they're pleading for their lives, mainly Victoria. Help us, to the point where Victoria's, her voice ended up sounding like mine, hoarse. I was like, she's like, please, oh, Claire, help us. We're the the ones that you want, myself and Cole. We're the ones that you're angry at. Leave Nicholas and my dad and my mom out of this. Oh my gosh. That was Victoria. Okay. So Aunt Jordan was just basically going on about, you guys are going to die. The poison's getting ready to kick in. You should start feeling nauseated. You should start getting lightheaded, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So much happened. I could be going forward a little bit, but you will get the gist of it. Okay. So at some point in time, while they're all pleading for their lives, if you will, Nicholas, and on his chest, Nicholas, who wants to basically save the day, which I had to chuckle because every moment he could, Nicholas was trying to get out. He was going to the doors, the windows, He's like, I can't get out. No. Which Aunt Jordan's like, they're triple bolted from the outside. Okay, Jordan, how are you getting in? I'm confused. If they're triple bolted from the outside, how are you it was just all over the board. Okay. At some point in time, Nikki, in her drunken stupor, because as you know, she had the bag, the intravenous bag full of vodka, and that's what they were pumping in her veins. As I told you, she's now a full-fledged alcoholic again. Again, I'm not making light of alcoholism or anything like that, but we're talking about soap opera land, okay? People, don't come for me. This is soap opera land. All right? Okay. So Nikki, she swears she sees Victor, and Victor's, he's like, oh, my baby. Oh, I thought you weren't going to do this again. You promised me, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Victor, it's not me. They did this, blah, blah, blah. You're stronger than that, baby. Get up, come to me, baby. Well, she gets up and she reaches towards Victor with the hand that has the IV in it, and she goes so far that the thing goes, and the whole thing falls over, boom, on the ground. Nicholas goes, what was that? So then there goes I heard it too. Everybody's like, what was that? Oh, Aunt Jordan, you had me in stitches. Oh, that must be, what was it? Teacup? Teacup, the little cat, our little cat. Oh, she just gets around and she just, meddles around and things fall. Yeah, isn't that right, Claire? Claire is in a drunken stupor herself, just she's not with it. And she's like, yes, what? And she's like, Claire, dear, I'm talking to you, Claire. Oh, yes, Aunt Jordan, I'm listening now. Isn't that teacup upstairs? Teacup? I mean, what? That's the best you could come up with? Teacup. Okay. So she's, yeah, whatever. Well, Nicholas is like, ding! Dad? You see this in the background. Dad? And it was motion to upstairs. So he knows full well that Nikki must be upstairs at this point in time, and so does Victor. Okay. So at some point in time, again, I guess the poison is starting to kick in. Right. Well, before Victor, Nicholas gets up and was like, almost attacking, it was attacking Jordan. And yeah, there goes Victor up the stairs. Slowly, mind you. Nikki, Nikki, are you up there, Nikki? Nikki? Well, then back to Jordan and Nicholas. They're having like a full out brawl, and then somehow she scratches Nick across the face, and she somehow like it was almost like a galloping horse. She's apparently running, and she runs like, I don't know, 2 feet, and I don't know. She finds this knife, or I guess she had put it there, and it was underneath a bench. And so Nick, if you saw the knife, it's one big long, like, who keeps that knife there? I don't know. When I say that this whole thing was like a comedy act, and I heard people talking and they were like, oh, this was great. It was fun for me. I laughed the entire time because it just seems so far-fetched. So back to the knife. She's running up the stairs to run after Victor. And Nick is running behind her. And she just slices Nick like across like the stomach area. And then he looks down and it's like, how many layers of clothing did she slice through with this thing? And okay, Nicholas, you've been allegedly stabbed, if you will. You should have like immediately collapsed onto the floor, like down the rest of the stairs again. But he just he took it like a boss, and he was just like, oh, with these like cat scratches across his face. And I'm like, the gas she gave him, allegedly, there should have been blood spewing everywhere. No, sir. That didn't happen. So Victor's like, Nikki. And she's like, Victor? Bam, 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 bam. On the door, she's like, bam, bam, bam. And he's like, Nikki. Oh, Victor. Oh, you found me, Victor. Oh, my gosh. So he gets into the room. No sooner he's there with his baby, there's Jordan. And she's like, and Nikki's like, oh my God. I can't even laugh too much because I'm going to end up coughing. Oh my God. So then you see the knife, and it's got the brightest red blood that's not even dripping anywhere. It's just like almost like puffy paint on this. I'm like, what? So then ends up Victor's like, basically, yeah, I'm gonna take you down if anything, like, if you're gonna use that on me, like, I'm gonna go first, bam. And he knocks it out of her hand. She's like, oh. And then next thing you know, they leave the room. Apparently was hurriedly, and he has enough time to close the door, and Jordan's like, oh. So she's locked in the room. Okay. He comes downstairs with Nikki, and I'm telling you, it was like a complete free-for-all. Nick's on the ground. He's like writhing in pain, holding inside. Cole is like, I'll handle this. I'll put pressure on it. So Cole puts pressure on, Nick's war wounds. And, Nikki's like, doo-doo-doo. And then eventually she's like, oh my God, Nicholas. Like, oh my God. I mean, I was in stitches. Okay. Let me backtrack one more time with this. Okay, so let's pretend we're back to before all this roller coaster craziness has happened, but we're still at this house. Jordan was telling, them that Claire is indeed Victoria and Cole's daughter Eve that died, but that she was, the nurse, and she basically wanted to stick it to the Newmans because her sister Eve died. And at the hands of the Newmans or whatever sob story she gave. And so her payback was to steal their baby and, make and give them this other baby to that was again at death's door. Okay. So now they're on this whole thing of this is Cole and Victoria. I don't know who your parents are, Claire, but we're not it. We mourned our baby, whatever. Claire was like, wait a minute, Aunt Jordan. I never heard this story. Wait a cot picking minute. Like, what? You never told me this. Like, what? So now she's like, why would I trust anything you say? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I could go on and on about this whole storyline because this thing was just crazy times 10. But anyway, Claire eventually gives an antidote to two antidotes to Victoria, and she then gives it to her father and Cole. Not even her brother. Like, what? So eventually, Claire finds two other vials because she's like, I think I know where Aunt Jordan may have put them. Well, why didn't you say this all along, Claire? So she goes and she gets the two vials and bingo, bango, bongo. She's like, Nick, take this. Nick's like, and Victoria, not enough time. Miraculously, they start to feel better. Oh my goodness. Okay, push forward, because as I said, I could go on. There was so much that happened in like the whole scene, like all of just wow, they really just condensed a lot of stuff. But anyway, police come. This is because Nicholas ends up, dragging himself over to the table where the antidotes were because previously Claire had taken all their phones, locked them away. The drawer was still open because she took two antidotes out of there, and Nicholas was able to call 911. Police came. They were paramedics. They were going to whisk them off to the nearest hospital to get checked out to make sure that they were detoxed from the poison. Okay, I had to do a lot of air quotes because this is what was going on. That's what Cole said. And then Nikki was like, but I didn't have any. So Claire's like, no. Nikki didn't have any of the poison. We just gave her vodka. Vodka? Yeah. So they're like, Victor was like, officer, I would like to make sure that you basically throw the book at this crazy woman. And they're like, no can do, sir. We can't find her. She's not here. So Nikki's like, wait, there's only one way out in that bedroom is there's a window and it's quite high. So they're like, yeah, the window was open, but if anybody had dropped out there, like they would have hurt themselves. So Victor's like, I need you to find her and like get her and take her away. Well, pushed to the end of that, there's a tiny, the smallest air vent at the top. Like, I'm like, what? It was like on I don't know if it was a load bearing wall, but like there was this tiny, tiny little air vent. And you see Jordan peering through that. So much so that the cameraman couldn't even focus on it properly because it was so small. So now she's crawling in air vents now? Isn't this reminiscent of Chance when he first came back into the show? When he was at the Grand Phoenix and he just like flew down to save the day. Anyway, so Claire got hauled off. The rest of them went away. Yeah. Well, while they were there, there was like this manhunt, if you will, based on who was it? Billy, Slimy Nate, and Audra. Well, Billy wanted to save the day because he's like, I haven't heard from Victoria. Nate, have you heard from Victoria? No, I haven't heard from Victoria. Audra was like, I haven't heard from Nikki. Nikki's not like that. Claire would normally step in. I don't understand what's going on. So the three of them, you know, a new trifecta, they're trying to figure out what has happened to the Newman clan. Okay, we can go and just fly by all this to the point where Billy ends up at Newman looking for clues as to, wait a minute, this is not right. And he then ends up calling, gets Nick, and Nick's like, can't talk right now. I'm sure Victoria will fill you in at some point in time, but can't talk right now. Gotta go by. That was the end of that. That was pretty much like most of an episode, them trying to figure out what happened to the Newmans. So it was like, dum, dum, dum. Anyway. Yeah, we could talk about them. Let's just push it to the end and just finish with them. And then we'll backtrack to part of the week. Okay. So the end of the week, they're back at the Newman Ranch. I mean, Nikki is still looking bedraggled. Victoria has gone back to being bedraggled, although when she was at the house away, she looked good. Her hair was nice and slicked back. She was in all black. She looked great. I'll give her that. Her purse, bang on. Now she's gone back to looking bedraggled. Anyway, Nick is there like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, it hurt for him to drink some water. It hurt for him to have a grape. Whatever. Victor was sitting there with his legs crossed, like on his phone, just what's going on. And he finds out that, yes, indeed, Jordan is Cole's aunt. And that, yes, she just happened to be the nurse at that time. Whoa! How did you find this out? Like, what? Just what? Okay. So Cole's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, you know, this is crazy. And, you know, there's no way Claire could be our daughter, you know, whatever. Two of them go over to society. They need some time by themselves to discuss this. Victoria's like, Cole, you know, we're dancing around the subject, but is it a possibility that Claire is baby Eve? I don't know why they haven't even talked about doing a DNA test. I think I heard it vaguely, but why the two of them haven't said, you know what, let's do a DNA test, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But to me, easy peasy, figure it out. So Cole's like, you do know we'll have to see her again if this is the case. Yeah, of course you will. Cole, what? Yes, you will. If you want to know. So we don't know what has happened to Jordan. She could still be in the air vent. Who knows? All right, so let's move right along. Because the rest of the week was kind of like in between. So we see Tucker and Ashley. Ashley's trying to get him to mend fences with Devon, what have you. I need to take a breath here because finally, at some point during this week, we finally see what happened in Paris. Oh, my Lanta. Now, I want to sit back and say, Ashley, okay, Tucker, in your little like dream or your memory, yeah, he was angry, but the way you were carrying on, fear for your life. What? And so they had this argument in Paris at the smallest table known to man on a patio. And yeah, he went off and he was like, I want nothing to do with you, basically. And you just want to cry. And I don't care what you do. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Like, do whatever you want. I'm done with you. I'm through. Boom, boom, boom. And she's like, can we just, like, tone it down? Like, can we do this? Like, maybe talk about this tomorrow? And, like, what? I've never, she just looked like this little timid little schoolgirl. I'm like, I've never seen Ashley like this. And yeah, she just went completely left field. And then I had to laugh when he was like taking his last sip of wine and he chugs it back. Part of the wine goes on his face and he just wipes it off and he throws down the glass. He's like, I'm through with you. I'm done with you. She's like, oh, it couldn't be. So now we finally see the whole melee in Paris. Was it as bad as she made it out to be? I don't personally think so. I mean, no, I wouldn't want anybody speaking to me that way, but the whole fear for your life story, I think you just kind of took that to a whole new level, Ashley. Kind of didn't need to be there, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, between the two of them, Tucker and Ashley, I really don't know what's going on. Tucker is willing to allow Ashley to help him where Devon's concerned, and she wants to, but you got Devon who's sitting back, and every pass, he doesn't want to give Tucker the time of day. And now Abby's involved, and she's like, looky here. She even told Devon, I'm not afraid of Tucker. I'll go toe to toe with him. You need to get me a job at Chancellor Winters. Put me on the board. He's like, put you on the board. I can't do that. Yes, you can. That way, Tucker knows that I mean business. So we'll see what happens where that's concerned. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So at some point, back to Tucker and Billy, they meet up. And that was cute. Their little back and forth made me laugh. I think Billy even said to him, I'm sure if I checked on, I kept checking under rocks, eventually I'd find you. I was like, okay, Billy. So, Billy has now figured that Tucker is indeed up to something, some nefarious stuff where Jabot is concerned, because as per Billy and what he told Jack, Tucker didn't flinch, when he was saying whatever, and Billy has a good read on people. Why? Because of his gambling days. So he, kind of equates it to poker, where he reads people. He watches them, how they, with their hands, how they tap their hands on the table and where they're looking and whatnot. And he's like, Tucker didn't flinch. This is what he tells Jack. At some point in time, Jack's like, wait, so what do you think? He's like, I hate to say it, but I think that Tucker has gotten to Kyle. I think, it's an inside man job, this kind of thing. Oh my Lanta. Jack's like, grabs his jacket. I'm done with this conversation. So much so that he's got like a little, like, Charlie Brown swirl. He's messed up his hair. I'm out of here. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. I'm done with this. He's like, look, it's my nephew. I love him, but I think that Tucker has gotten to him. I think, I just find this kind of strange that, Kyle's had this change of heart, like, whatever. He's gone from anger to contrite, and just, like, this is just crazy. So Jack is like, look, if Tucker got to my son, like, oh, there's basically going to be hell to pay. So, I don't know. Like I said before, sorry, I'm going to get through this. I will, I promise. I should have brought some water with me, but I didn't. Okay. So, in my head, like, Jack, you're a little too trusting. And as I said before, I want to believe that Kyle's on the up and up, but there's this part of me that still feels like he's going to try and stick it to his own father to get what he wants. I don't know. We're going to see where this goes. It is what it is. Let me take it back to Audra and Slaminate. And I think I made a prediction about this before. So this was the episode when they were all trying to do like their super sleuth thing to figure out what has happened to the Newmans. So after Billy has left to go to Newman Towers, that left Audra and Slaminate. See, I knew I couldn't give up the slimy part. So Slaminate is trying to figure out where Audra comes from, like how she became Audra. That's weird. And so she's like, well, you want to know how many like boys I've kissed? It's really not like an interesting story. Just know this is who I am and it is what it is. And Audra was offering Nate a position at a job that she don't even have. Like, she's trying to get into Jabot and she's offering a job to Nate? What? Do you see the craziness? So he's like, well, I can't accept a position that I don't know anything about. So she's like, oh, in due time. So anyway, my prediction, again, if I never said it before, I believe that Slimy Nate and Audra are going to hit the skins. Because if you recall, she said at some point in time that she had the hots for him. I don't know where that had even came from. I don't remember any of that. But c'est la vie. Audra, as I said, in order to get to where she wants to go, she will go and dipsy doodle with whomever she pleases just to get to where she wants to be or where she thinks she needs to be, whatever. So everyone is fair game. At some point in time, even Tucker had said to Audra, wait, like, what do you have the hots for Kyle? You like, you're catching feelings for this guy? For real? No. Well, man, I can't even talk about Audra. She just bothers me. So her and Tucker end up kissing, smooching in his room. Who cares? Because Tucker is just, he's on a warpath. So again, who cares? All right. Have we left anybody out? Yes. We will get through this. I'm going to like swig a big thing of water after because I deserve that. All right. Do-gooder Chance. Do-gooder Chance has decided that he's going to give up being lead detective, or sorry, chief of police. You just figured this out, Chance? You're not chief of police material. Come on. You should have known this from before. When Paul was offering, you should have said, no, not me. I cannot do this. But you didn't. You got shot again. So he's there with the sling saying, and he meets up with Sharon. He's like, no, I'm out of here. I'm not going to do this anymore. So he's decided that he's going to go into the corporate world. So we've got another Nate on our hands here with no credentials whatsoever. And yeah, I almost want to see what's going to happen with that and see how he, how does he make out where this is concerned? Because I feel like he'll be like a bumbling fool. But this is just me. I think he needs to just set sail somewhere and just be by himself. Or maybe he could take Summer or Sharon with him, somebody. So when he's saying that he's going back to the office because he's allegedly still employed, Summer walks in with Chelsea, and she's looking guilty because she's like got the hots for Chance. So he's like, I just want to thank you because I've decided I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be a part of the force anymore. And she's like, oh, that's great. Oh, it must have been so difficult for you, but that's so great. Chelsea's looking at Summer like, okay. Sharon's looking at Summer like, oh no, you didn't. That's my man. Anyway, Summer has finally confessed, finally, that she has got the hots for Chance. She didn't say this to anybody except, I think she told Chelsea, but she also told her mother, and oh, well, now that Phyllis knows, Chance, watch out. You and Sharon may not make it. I said this from before, but I'm just saying. Meanwhile, I don't even know if I want to talk about these two. We're just going to gloss over it. I think that might be the last thing. Danny and Cricket. They're sitting there listening to whatever song he has come up with that apparently he got inspiration from both her and Phyllis. And Cricket's like, are you kidding me? Phyllis? You got inspiration from Phyllis? What? And he's like, well, yeah, whatever he said. So at some point in time, I'm just going to fast forward over them because they really bore me. They're at the club, and they're right in the front foyer, near the revolving door. And Cricket, she plants a kiss on Danny. And Danny is all too happy for that. In walks Phyllis and Summer. And Phyllis is like, oh. And Summer's like, okay. So we know that there's going to be some sort of, albeit love triangle between Cricket, Danny, Phyllis. And there's going to be one between Summer, Chance, and Sharon. So, I don't know. Pardon me for the cough. I'm human. As I said, I told you at the beginning, I'm fighting a cold, but I had to get this out because there was information that I feel that you needed to know. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I forgot anything. Again, so much happened through this week. a little bit of highs, a little bit of lows. It was kind of a mishmash in between. We're going to see where things go next week. I believe that Nikki will go right back into drinking again and hiding to drink. I believe that Cole and Victoria will probably end up seeing Claire again. Do I think that she is baby Eve? Yes, I do. Because why would they just bring her in order to like not further this whole story? Just saying. And yeah, we'll just see where this bumpy road takes us. But as usual, if you have stuck around to the end of this video, I do appreciate your time. You know I love you lots. Again, if I forgot something, it's the nature of the beast. Either it wasn't newsworthy or I plumb forgot. Again, with a head cold, there's only so much information that can settle in this brain. And coughing and wheezing, ugh. But hopefully by next week, I will feel much, much better. So again, I value your time, and we're going to see what happens next week. Again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification. And don't forget to share. Why? Because sharing is caring. At least I like to think so. So until the next time, I'll see you guys. Love you. Bye.